See, so you have to pay yourself first. 40% will always go no matter what to investments, and 60% will go to your expenses. What that means is whatever money comes, you're able to only spend no matter what 60% of it, and the 40% will always be the first thing you touch when you get the money. For example, if you received $1,000, make it an absolute requirement to pay yourself first, meaning you invest it first before spending it or even bother looking at it. This will guarantee your financial freedom. This is what will help you stay on course to receiving money while you're sleeping. Just what Warren Buffett said. You want to make money while you're sleeping so you don't work for the rest of your life. So that in the future, you can actually do things you want to do, which could be maybe start working for yourself, make a company, or travel and reallocating funds back to investments to make capital gains, cash flow gains, or interest gains, and other sort of gains. And this easily would duplicate or quadruple the net worth you had from investing. This is what the wealthy people do. There's no secret. That's literally what the wealthy people do. Whatever money comes in, a huge portion goes to investments. They never spend it on junk. That's why they're wealthy. They're not rich, they're wealthy. Wealthy people stay wealthy forever. Rich people don't stay wealthy forever. They stay with a lot of cash temporarily, because eventually that cash decreases by inflation and they won't have any sort of financial freedom, or they won't have a net worth at all. You don't want to be this. My whole point into this course, that's why if you see the logo here, that's why I put into this academy that it's to emulate wealth. I don't put anything with rich, I put to emulate wealth. Now think about it. If you were living off entirely $8,000 with a family and a few kids a month, that should be 60% of your revenue. Now, I know this is easier said than done. It requires a lot of dedication and discipline, but it's not that hard if you actually stay on course and do it, no matter what happens, because that will guarantee your future. It's that simple. Do the math and you will see I'm right. It's that simple. I know it's not easy at all. And I don't even like saying that it's not easy. It's just what it is. It's what it is. There's no other way. That you have to agree with that. There's no other way to make more money if you don't invest it. If whatever money comes in and you're not investing with 40%, or at least in these ranges, if you're not investing in a way, or if you can't invest a lot of amounts, you're not going to get a good return, right? And you guys seen that the more money you make, the more money you invest in, you're going to have $500 million. In fact, I advise you to invest more money than this. I really advise you to invest the most money you possibly can, because you're sure going to get a return out of that. For sure, you can make $1 billion. Why? Because if you invested $80,000, you would have about 800 to 900 million. That's almost $1 billion. But it was just discipline. And look, this is 90% of the reason I will tell you for sure what will get you to a place in the financial freedom you want. But that's exactly why 90% don't do it, because it's hard. I know it's hard, but nothing's supposed to be easy. You have to really focus and understand that by just simply doing it all the time, while blocking your current state of frustration or pressure or any kind of excuses you will have and formulate, it's a simple math, but it's going to be a struggle with yourself. You need to really have the vision and desire that you want to become financially free. You have to be dedicated no matter what to get that 40% to invest. You cannot let anything or anyone interfere with that plan. We're talking about your life, your freedom with your family. That's absolutely something you need to provide. But it's that simple. It's just that simple. And it's not easy, but it's that simple if you do it, regardless of the excuse. It's that simple. No matter what comes, now for an emergency, but I'm not saying that that's why I keep saying it's not an easy thing. Sometimes it's a painful thing to do, but you have to be really serious that if I just do this over and over and over again, I'm going to have this amount of money in the future. That's why many people believe that getting the things that you really want requires you to say, I don't even like saying that, to say yes. It's not saying yes. It's to say no. You have to say no. Saying no is the most important thing to have to become successful. You have to say no. Why is saying no so important? Because it's absolutely going to eradicate all the things that aren't going to align with your goal. That means people, your time, your activities, your habits. It's going to eradicate all this. Hence, you're not going to be trying to cope with a lot of this nonsense junk and trying to carry it. Look, when you carry something, it's harder to get there, which make it less likely to get there. But it's just that simple. If you stay on course, that's why there's not much weight. If you actually do it, you're gonna have money there. You're gonna have money there. It's that simple. But it's hard. It's hard. But that's why there's very few wealthy people. Because that's why I keep saying, no matter how hard something is, the return is worth it. And you have to understand this. Why I keep saying that you have to see the value in what you're paying. If you don't, you're gonna expect the same results. right? The reason where you're currently at in your life is because of what you're doing right now. Of what you're doing right now, if you keep doing what you're doing right now, you're going to stay the same way as you are right now. I never want that in my life, no matter how successful I become. Success is not getting to a place. It's not getting to a place. Many people don't understand that. It's not getting to a place. It's getting in passing places many, many, many times. Success is never a place because by human nature, you always want to do more. I would hate to come to the point that I can't do more. I always want to do more. That's why I become better every single day. And that's why it's hard for me to lose because I'm not serious. Because that's going to make me more likely work smarter than everyone else because I'm dedicating more time. I'm more serious by that nature, and I'm doing decisions that are hard, but I'm very focused on what I want. I'm going to overpass and it's not about me, but it's about you and what you're doing. If you do the same thing, you're going to have the same results. And many of you might be saying, okay, so then how can we find the 60-40 rule if that's hard right now? Well, one of the ways you will get there, sure, is spend less of what you earn. Super important. You have to spend less of what you earn. Remove all expenses that you aren't using lately and aren't necessary. Don't give me any excuses to the items that they are vital if they're not pushing you towards this goal of having more money to invest in. It's that simple. You have to be disciplined. Whatever you have right now around you, you see an item and you haven't used it in a year. What are you doing? Sell the damn thing. There's value there. Where you need money to invest. That's gonna save for your future, right? It's not what you bought the thing. You bought the thing just to look at it or to not use it. And look, I'm not gonna be hypocritical. I've done those things in the past, but it's not an excuse for you to do it. It's so stupid. I had so much junk so many years ago that it was just so stupid to see how much junk there was. Eventually, when we came to this mentality and we sold everything, and you want to know how much we made? We made probably more than $10,000. That would have helped enormously for an investment. So look, that is super important. One of the easiest way and the surest way, it's really the easiest. It is the easiest. The easiest way to increase your income is to reduce your expenses. And you have to adapt to a frugality stage, right? You have to, and to me, I don't see it as frugality, but I see it as necessary. And to be honest, when I've been living more out of necessity, I've become actually more happier with what I have. Because I'm not just spending for the sake of spending just in case I need something. That's bullshit. You shouldn't do that. You want to invest in things or put your money to use in necessity items that you're going to use every day or every week. Also, you're going to have to start to make less travel vacations. Listen, I know it's cool to travel, but this is not what's going to help you. This is definitely not what's going to help you in this goal, no matter what excuse you give me, no matter what excuse you give to anyone. When you travel in a vacation, many people give the excuse, oh, but I want to be happy. Yeah, but you're going to be happy if you do this stuff, and you have to learn to understand. I find it to be more, that's me personally, but I find it to be more happy through going through a set of self-development challenge to become less reliable on things that I think I need. And I implore you to not think the same way, but I implore you to think in a similar matter. I just believe that it's an effective way of thinking. I think it's very instructive. Listen, now, of course, if it's an emergency travel, that's fine. Just make it as cost effective as possible and don't spend much. You need to have a frugality in these stages. And fourth, this is extremely the most important. This is literally the most important. No more parties, no more heavy drinking, no more spending a heavy night with your friends just because you haven't seen them in years is absolutely not a reason for you to go crazy. Look, I've had family come to my house after not seeing them since I was 5 years old. And you know what? You want to know what we did? We just ate almost all the time, cooked food from the house, touring around places that weren't expensive at all, but had great views like the beach or observatories, family hills, hikes, town areas. Places that they wanted to go because they were from another country. We would just drive them there, but they would pay everything themselves, especially if it wasn't expensive, but in a famous place. And we would just wait outside because that's how disciplined we were in our plan of not spending a lot, because we saw the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan, that we would have more money to invest, and because that's the surest way that's going to get you financially free. That's a good thing that I have with my own parents and our family. We both have this similar agreement. We both know how valuable this is. And maybe a lot of people might not have the fortune to have people to agree with them in this sort of way. But it comes to a point, it doesn't matter whether those other people agree with you. You have a plan. You have to stick to that plan, no matter whether you're criticized or scrutinized. Trust me, you're not going to be criticized or scrutinized if you have about $500 million 10 years later. Those people, I'm telling you, those people are likely going to start to hang out with you more. And that's not a reason I wouldn't like to even hang out with them because they're looking for the money. But this goes to show that it does not matter what happens in the short term, that you have to make something good. No, we're talking about you. It's not about other people. It's about you. You have to be serious in what you want. You can't expend all these stupid items that are expensive. You need to save. So, and also sell all the things you're not using. Listen, I know, and I've had before I moved to California, I've had a bunch of things we didn't use at least for a year or a decade. And we had thousands of dollars underneath our nose. It was so stupid to hold that much items. Now we only buy the things, sure, not just emotionally. I advise you to think the same way. You never want to buy things out of an emotional base. You want to buy them out of an objective way. And that's really the way how you should think about all the things. This is also what's going to make you very successful. You have to start to become a very objective thinker. You have to think like, is this going to help me or reduce the speed we're going to get to the goal? If it's reducing the speed, no matter the excuse, you have to get that shit out of the car. Like, it's just that simple, because it's what's going to get you to the destination, or at least to the place you want to go. But yeah, we don't buy things emotionally now. Sure, we want things, but the way how I buy things is from needance, or we're going to enjoy the full use of it now, not for later. That's how you should buy things. You either buy things because you necessarily need them, or you buy things because you're going to actually genuinely use them from enjoyment presently, not for later. Never buy things for later. I don't believe in later. Everything's present. And that's another quality. You have to always think about the present. And this is what many people have this huge misconception about the present. People believe that, oh, but the present is about enjoying and doing things. Yeah, but that makes no excuse for you to spend all these lavish things because you want to live a happy life. There is no happy life if it's just, you can change the way how you do things too as well. If you become productive in a sense, I'm telling you for sure, and I'm telling you out of experience. I'm not just trying to say to you that, oh, do this or do that. No, I'm just saying that what's worked for me. But I think that there's a reason why you wanted to even listen to me in the first case in this course. And this would genuinely help me and help many others, that you have to understand. And what I've understood for myself is, I've understood that when I started to repeat things and become more productive, I actually like more productivity than comfortability. Why? Because I'm able to scale to my potential. I'm able to work. I'm able to give to people. I'm able to make more people happy. That's the process that you start to understand this nature, that this whole journey is really not about you. It's about everyone else. And I know that a lot now. I'm understanding that what I'm going to do, like, I have a very high vision and ambition that I want to create a very big organization worth billions of dollars, right? But it's not about me. It's about everyone else. And it's the same way how you go about that. And you're going to be very productive. And whatever you're doing in your business, it's not about the money. It's what you're selling into it, that you believe it that much and you go to the fullest scale to improve it. But many people, like, that's the present, right? You have to enjoy things from the present. Money, this is why many people who don't understand the quality in themselves, when they acquire more money, they become depressed, right? And then the people who don't understand money, they go like, oh, you see what money does? No. It's not that. It's because they didn't use it the right way. Money is not money's just a conduit of trading valuable goods. So if you're really going to trade cars with all this stuff, but you think that's going to fill your happiness, you're utterly completely wrong, right? I believed that a bit when I was starting, but I think that was because I was young. I don't believe in that at all. What fills in my happiness is what I like to do. That's why I keep saying that you just want to do the things that you like to do. Because that's what, look, when you die, you can't extract the billions of dollars you get either. Not even the corporations. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. You're going to leave it either way. So you want to make sure that leavings is valuable and that you're grateful and you like the operations you're doing. But if you're living a depressed life or sad, that you're really imposing upon yourself, you should really be changing the things you're doing. But in any case, you shouldn't buy things emotionally. You should only buy things that are needed, or that you're generally going to enjoy the use of it now, not for later. For doing this, you're going to have a few things, but not a lot. But all these things are items used every day or every week. So we really don't have junk. I know a lot of people who are going to be watching this have a bunch of things that they could sell, but they're unaware how effective it is to not hold items you don't use. I mean, it's so simple. And look, this is the most important factor of all. The most important factor, along with the believing something is special. All of it has to do first, always, to change yourself. This is the most important and hardest step really, it's the hardest step everyone, it's the most, and to be honest, this is actually the hardest thing to do in life, to change yourself. It's the hardest step everyone's going to go through, and it's a step you still gradually get better over time and repetition. But you cannot change the results you get if you don't first change yourself. You have to start changing the things you do every day. What I mean by this is, look at all the people in your life and see the ones you dislike or find that aren't going to help you with confidence, a vision, or encouragement for thinking big, such as pessimistic and low imagination or low vision people, or ones that find the world to be the prime suspect towards their misfortunate causes. These people are people you want to run away from completely. You don't even want to look back and never even talk to again. Mostly the people who are victims of anything. Now, if they're in your family, if they run in your family, you can't run away from that. But you can. But look, let me give you advice, because I do have. I'm not perfect. I'm definitely not perfect. My family is not perfect. There's definitely, everyone has issues within their family, but I like this approach of what I've learned and dealt with things with my own family. People I don't necessarily like, per se. Look, you can keep these people as distant friends by calling them very few times, and the only things you should talk in the conversation are positive, good things about situations in life of any kind, from general usage, including what everyone does. Deflect all the negative answers or questions they ask and respond to all by switching actually the conversation. So if they give you by all, like I mean, who knew? Like, as always, they're gonna give you that negative response. Look, don't react, but respond. Start by switching the subject. Ignore kind of what they said and start switching the conversation and changing the subject, and actually start talking about them. Start to talk something good about them. Compliment them in a sincere way, no flattery or false praise, but actually mark out something that you genuinely admire or like what they do in the way that they do it. You're going to start to see that they're going to really change the energy they're in. And it won't work as night and day, and they're not going to become this completely different person, but it is going to inevitably change their mood to be a bit happier. They will like your compliment. I mean, who the hell doesn't like to receive a compliment? All humans have an ego. Remember that these people, look, this is important to understand, that these people don't want to play a role of being a negative kill dreamer, or that they desire to make everyone worse. No, not at all. They just don't know that they are. I mean, who the hell would want that out of any circumstance? Also, another thing is just to respond to them with a good answer. Not that you're in denial, but look, this is simple, really. If you aren't always looking at the person and getting mad because you really can't understand the way how they can think about these people that way, or how dare this person, because you're letting yourself do that to you. It's not them, right? If a person insults you, it's not them, it's you. It's that you're letting them say to you what they're saying in your face to be true, and actually validate that to yourself, that, oh yeah, that is a way of thinking myself. That's why many people get pissed off, because you maybe criticize them, right? But look, when people receive criticism, there's a lot of people who tend to get mad and take it personally and respond with anger. And that's a very unproductive way to go about life, especially if you're running an operation, and especially if you want to become wealthy. I have that very clear, and I have to work on that too. But you have to receive criticism with a third person view to see, like, okay, how are they thinking about this perspective? How do they think about the cause and effect? What are the subjects that relate to that? And it's not about like whether, like, oh, okay, the person has this high status. Are they saying what they're saying is true? It's not what it's true. It's just consider what they're saying and perfect what you're doing. Don't let that affect you. Like, because a lot of people tend to justify, and I understand, because people do not like to be judged based on their hard work, because they did it. They like to stay in that comfort. People don't like to change what they're doing. And that's very dangerous. You do not want to become like this. You should accept criticism when it's done, and you should take it with open arms and try to change and understand and actually listen to what those people are saying, because they're the only people who are going to say it to you up front. But when it comes to these people who are negative, you shouldn't get mad over them. And you can't start to think like, how dare this person, because you're letting that do that to you. It's not them. No one has the power at all to change who you are, neither change the state that you are. The only person to change you is you. But look, this is extremely easier said than done. It's very hard to become like this. I congratulate anyone who does this stuff. I do need to perfect on that, work on that. That's why the best thing to do is to not revolve around these people at all, and to not revolve around anyone who are not going to help you with the goal, regardless of the excuse, regardless if they're your friends or whatever excuse. Like, it's that simple. When they're in your family, you can't run away from them, but just don't really talk to them. Just kind of change the subject and talk to them very small, and then kind of get over with. I have a few people that I know that have these people as their parents. It's the same way. When you're younger, you kind of have to have a struggle because you can't run away, you can't do any of this stuff, but do this stuff like just you have to now become very independent onto that point. You have to really become a super friend with yourself in order for not to let even up to your parents to change the way how you think. Because if your parents are like this, listen, the most important thing you have to do now is really become the best friend with yourself. And by doing that, doing a bunch of productive things, because you're going to start to love the things you do. You're going to start to love life, that you will be able to handle maybe your parents in a responsible way. You're not going to completely ignore them because they're your parents, but you're not going to really fuel the flame there. You really have to understand that this person who is unintentionally bringing negativity to others, no matter how smart or devious they are, to think the world this way, that everyone is out to get them, you really should just have sympathy and empathy towards this person, including if they're your parents, rather than anger or frustration. That's a lot easier said than done, especially if they're your parents. But it's the way how it is. Like, you cannot change a person. You have to, if you really understand what they went through, you're not gonna completely respond to them with like anger or just justifying for your causes. In fact, you're fueling and you're becoming more of that person. That tends to happen a lot. The people like justify for their current position because of the way how their parents are. You're becoming them. That's not what you should do. You have to understand them and their position. But please don't get the mindset ever that you are trying to change them, because believe me, this will do more harm than good and will frankly harm you more than them. You are just trying to support them as much as you can while, keeping them at a distance, because you have to stay focused into what you are, whether they're your parents or whatever. There's no excuse. It's hard, but it's that serious. It's your life. You can't look. If I had parents like that, I wouldn't do the same thing. I would just keep them at a distance, and I would, because there's no excuse. Listen, I don't have time for that. That's the way how I go about it. You don't have time for that. I don't care. I can talk to you, but this is what I'm really focused at, and no one can ever stop me. And that's the mindset that you should have. This is meant for you. This is super important. This is what you're supposed to do. No one should interfere. There's no excuse because they're your parent, whatever. You have to do what you're doing because this is your life. And enjoys what you do. You're just trying to support them, whenever the very rare occasion they want to talk, but not to change them. All right, so that's the end of this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll go over a bit of the programming. And please, these lessons, I don't want you to ignore. These lessons are not optional. These are the most important lessons, because it doesn't matter whatever I'm going to teach you. And there's a lot of valuable things there's a lot of valuable things in investing that aren't valuable at all. I'm telling you, it's not gonna make any difference. I'm gonna show you so many valuable things when you know this stuff in investing. That's gonna change a lot what you're doing, but it's not gonna do the effect if you ignore all the stuff I'm saying. So please, if there was one thing that you didn't understand out of this lesson, please just repeat it. Go back to the timeline. There's nothing better than repetition. If you repeat and repeat, you're gonna understand things you didn't see before. That happens to me every time I'm reading a book. Right? So do that. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.